Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eric Landcamp, also known as Tricky Hunter. Um, so happy quarantine, social distancing time to you all. I don't know how many of you are essential workers. Uh, as a software engineer, it's very easy for me to work from home. Unfortunately, that means a lot of my time is eaten up by actual work here at home. But I have been able to make some serious progress, and I wanted to show you guys since the last video what's come up. I've discussed a lot of different things with you on Discord. If you want to check the logs, look in the feature discussions section. Let me double check here. Yes, feature discussion section, where I've talked about a lot of what I've been working on and also what is planned here upcoming. So let me go ahead and fire this up, and I'll flip over the screen here. So I think I fixed this since the last time. Yes, I did. Okay, so the last time I showed you guys, I was working on research. Research is now functional, but there's a whole series of things that still need to be worked on. Mining is actually functional, but I need to set up a screen where you can edit the funding to the mine and get some details about it. Um, so first things first, I updated the building list a little bit more. It's not really complex, but it gives you some idea of a couple of different aspects here, like progress on research on specific research facilities, how many research facilities are dedicated to the specific category, whether or not it has research, what research it is. Building type is up here. This is also building type here, depending on if how it's going to fill out the section here. Also, that's still cutting off. I need to fix that. Um, I'm not certain I like the blue. Green on black seems to be pretty good. It makes perfect sense as I'm doing it, but blue on black for the funding thing, I'm not sure I like. Um, so that was one thing that you guys saw. There's minor updates there, but let's go ahead and go to the research panel. So research panel is fully functional, and you can see that next level civics test 2 is currently underway. Gives you the time till complete. Also gives you a progress bar on what's happening here. Let me flip to military, where I've got 2 of these completed, so you can see those are all done. And then if I wanted to devote some time to researching, say, test research 2, I can hit start. It'll gray out here, and then as soon as it registers with the server, it pops in here and it gives you the time still. So you can flip between. You'll notice that I've got a military research project and a civic research project going at the same time, and each one is backed by its own um, set of buildings. That's why up here, and that's one thing. You'll see that the camera is zooming in while I'm scrolling on this panel. Um, you'll see that progress is different here because it's a military and civic type building. Also, the location here. So I don't think I like this layout for these panels. They're very archaic at this point. So I think there's got to be a better way of doing that. Okay, so we have a way of building things, obviously, and we can devote uh, specific amounts of people. I think I showed this to you guys the last time. If you're putting a building down, it'll give you the time estimate, the number of workers that are being devoted, and the percentage of those workers. And we have only 99% available because we have an under construction building right here, but I only have 1% of my workforce working on that right now. Let's see here. So next up is inventory. No, well, kind of inventory here. So you can see that I've got gold production happening. You can see the quantity, the type that it is, and there's a quality field as well. That comes into play with items, but not for resources. Resources have have just the quality that they're going to have. There's no variance in the quality of a raw material that's coming out, but the refinement process um, will change. So once it goes from raw material resource gold to being gold bars or pressed gold flake or whatever is necessary, um, the quality will get applied based on a variety of factors. The major of which is the type of facility that is producing it. Um, so, uh, so it's like what you have at your disposal. Quality is actually an infinite sort of thing, but it's on a curve, so it will eventually peter out. You can try and push it farther by pumping more money into it and constantly upgrading things, but there is an upper limit. You can get slightly better quality, but you can't get a literal infinite. Um, but it's going to be a differentiator between items. And if you're curious about that, I can fill you guys in a little bit later. One thing I'm missing right now. Is you'll see that I have this mine and it's fully funded right now. Um, and this is the progress. I don't know why it's not saying mining progress. I must have messed something up there. Um, what I'm missing is the ability to click on that building. So what should happen when I click on this building is this should shut down. It should move to the position where the tile, where that building is located, and then you should have a panel similar to this that opens up on the sides. And apparently I need to have these move dependent on where they're at. That's a note for later. I've never blown up the screen this much. But these panels are the city panels, but there will be building panels that will pop up based on what building is being edited at the time, and it'll give the basic details for them. So I'm actually planning to get rid of that button right there. That's supposed to be industry. So uh, buildings pertaining to production and refining and whatever else. That's kind of a redundant button to what I have for the buildings list here. So it looks like it's going to be four buttons up here for the time being, and then the quick select menu that I still have to fill out with a handful of things. Uh, but once I get that all set up, you guys can give me some feedback on what you think of the control scheme. I'm sure there's more edits that can be done to make it uh, a much better feel. But I've been putting in some pretty late nights to try and get this to a state in which I can release it to you guys. Um, the aim is to have it at a combat level quality by May 15th, which means I need to get this to you, get the next level of this build out to you guys um, by middle of by the end of this week with any luck. I know I've been saying that quite a bit, and it's just been one thing after another. I talked to some of you guys about a financial panel um, that I haven't put into place yet. I've got the data collection occurring for testing purposes. But what I don't have is an actual panel for players to see yet. The main goal for me is to ensure that all of the interactions between buildings and empire and um, inventory and production and the costs of production, that all flows correctly. And in order to do that, I needed a way to track it. So I have a built-in error logging system that I can actually look into. So if the server has some sort of error that occurs for one of you guys, um, I should be able to narrow down where that error is coming from, especially if it's one of my own coding errors. Excuse me. Um, then there's the financial tracking history that I've got, and then I've built in an alert system. So as items complete, um, as factories and whatnot shut down because of lack of funding or whatever else, there will be a panel somewhere on this screen, and I'm not sure where yet, um, where it'll pop up to alert you of something of importance that's occurring in your empire. That can all be tied into some of the other features that we've talked about, like push notifications to the cell phone app that we'd like to be able to put into place somewhere down the line. But yeah, that's the general gist of what's occurring right now. Like I said, mining is obviously already producing stuff. I just need to be able to edit the funding, and then also, well, really just edit the funding and look at data about the mine. Um, then it's on to item production. Item production is already stubbed out. Most of the code is already on the server. But as I've been noticing as I move forward, I keep having to add pieces that I wasn't planning to add yet because it didn't make sense to create a placeholder system for it when I am better off just completing the part that is needed at the time. So, if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch on Discord or Facebook. I'm really looking forward to getting this in your hands. I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out, even though it's not turning out as quickly as I'd like. So, you guys have a good night, and I'll catch you later.